All right, welcome to episode 175 of Live Drawing, and we're back. Happy New Year! Welcome to the first one since we took a little holiday break. We had Christmas Eve on a Wednesday, and I had to travel up to visit some relatives, so we missed out on some of that. You might hear some fireworks in the background. Stuff going on for New Year's, so. Tonight we will be working on a sketch cover, but I thought I'd show off. This is the Atlantic Pacific print. This is part of the stretch goals that we made for Undersea Hero. We decided to, early on, this was an idea I had, where this will actually have watercolor mixed with water from both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. So there will be like a little bit of watercolor live area here that I fill in. And I actually brought water with me from San Diego the last time I was there. Bill Wacko was a witness to this as I was just kind of climbing down this rock walkway to get down to the water so I could get some water, and I brought it back with me. But this is a closed limited edition of 135. They will be signed and numbered by me. It'll be signed here and numbered here. And anybody who got a physical reward will get one of those. So, everybody asked me to do a gimmick of some kind. They were like, do holograms, do these, do that, and I tried to come up with something that hadn't been done before, or at least that I was aware of, and that I thought was neat, and I thought fit the theme of the book. So having water from both oceans for that surround our continent would be neat. So this is the Youngblood book that we'll be sketching on. Hey Martha, it's good to see you. I had not read a Youngblood book in many years, but my buddy Jeff, now that we have a comment, I will pull it up on the screen. But yeah, I've never drawn these characters. I'm aware of them. They do the classic roll call on the first 2-page spread where you have Die Hard, Vogue, Bad Rock, Chapel, and Shaft. And my buddy Jay just loves this stuff. And we agreed this year for Christmas we would just do each other a drawing on a sketch cover. So it's a little late, but we will make it happen. But yeah, I showed off the Atlantic Pacific print, which is pretty neat. And it's early, but I'll show off the Big Blue Surprise, which I shared, the Kickstarter when it was out. But we have the Planet Comics #6 print copy in hand with my my cover artwork of the Tick. The Tick is guest starring in this issue of Planet Comics from my buddy Jeff McClellan and Wagon Wheel Comics. So if you look up Jeff McClellan up on social media, and you're interested in this, reach out to him. He's done 6 issues, which for an independent comic is a huge accomplishment. Planet Comics was a golden age anthology that did science fiction and superhero stories, and Jeff decided to bring it back, and he does an anthology, and they do some historical stuff in it, and then they will do some reprints of those very cool old comics. So I highly recommend you check it out. It's beautifully printed, came out great, and staples and everything. So that was the Big Blue Surprise. I'll share some of my Christmas presents and stuff throughout the stream, and we'll work on this sketch cover. How are you doing, Marthas? What's good with you? Okay, I'm gonna do a little warm up. Having never drawn these characters, we'll do a little test. Because I I remember my memories of 90s Image comics have a smattering of nostalgia and just youthful exuberance attached to them. So the thing with those Image guys is they always had drawing these characters from Youngblood. My buddy Jay loves this comic, and I've read some of them. I know it just came back, and we agreed to do a trade of sketches. So I'm gonna draw these characters: Vogue, Die Hard, Chapel, Shaft, and Bad Rock. But what I remember I was saying about these Image books was that let's put our horizon here. Let's put our vanishing point there. They would have an anchor character. I don't know. It's just an idea. I didn't read a ton of Youngblood, I'll be honest. Of the early Image books, I read Savage Dragon, which I still pick up every now and again. I read a little bit of Cyberforce because Mark Silvestri was on Wolverine for a long time, and I read his work there, and Conan the Barbarian. The idea behind Youngblood, if you don't know, is that like they are superheroes, but they are also famous. So there's celebrity, and it kind of, it mixed celebrity with the genre, which was interesting at the time. Let's see, his hit is 1, 2, 3, 4 hits from there. 1, 2, 3. Something like that. I don't know. That seems a bit odd. I mean, one of them has to be yelling. Like, that's kind of part of the deal. Oh, cool. Yeah. I mean, I showed off the Atlantic Pacific print. We're still waiting on getting some copies printed from the printer. We've received some of them. I can show one of those off if you want to see that. There you go. We don't have all the copies from the printer yet, so we've got to wait till we get those before we can start doing any sort of fulfillment or mailing stuff out. But pretty cool. There's the Crackus triptych. I'll be honest, I'm not doing a ton of research for Dimebox. I'm just going to kind of wing it with, after having read the like 4 appearances of the character I'm using, I'm just going to have fun with it. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like too much planning might be building this up in my head too much, so I feel like I like the idea of bedrock like kind of crashing through a wall. Smoke coming up. He was definitely the least cynical because it was kind of a combination, at least when I read it, of like Shazam and the Thing, you know? Like it was the kid who became the superhero, but it was the big superhero that had the, the big monster body. Just kind of winging it. I feel like that's the most fun. And with this kind of thing, I just want to have fun. And we'll have some smoke coming up so that there's some downward motion. Oh, that's interesting. The early Black Cat stuff. There was some of it was drawn by Joe Kubert. It had different artists that were in and out on it. So Lee Elias, I think, drew some of it too. So there's a good rich history with that character as far as the creators that worked on it. I've never drawn these characters, so I really have no idea what they look like. I have no mental image. So like Badrock's head kind of is like it's kind of like Liefeld's version of the Thing, just with no nose. He's got big eyes. I think if I remember, he had 4 fingers. Kind of like this, and then he's just got the giant silhouette. An oddly drawn boat with little people around it. All right, we'll see what we can do. I'm going to show off another gift I got for Christmas. And it's something that I've never actually owned. I've only ever had photocopies and PDFs, but I got a copy of Figure Drawing for All It's Worth, the Andrew Loomis book, and I have just been reading it every day, looking at it every day. And it's a phenomenal resource. And if you don't have this book, it's one of those books that I highly recommend you have or find a copy of. When I was in high school, I had photocopies of all these pages. This shows you how standing on a plane works, keeping your figures related to one another in the horizon line, placement and sizes, just phenomenal stuff. And I'm just really enjoying going back through fundamentals, as an adult, like a seasoned artist. And I'm just really just blown away by like how wonderful the arrangements are. And it shows movement and placement and figures in motion, solidity. Yeah, if you have it as a PDF, that's all I had for a long time. They reprinted this not that long ago, and my wife got it for me for Christmas. And I've just been doing studies in my sketchbook and all sorts of stuff, and it's just been really, really good fuel for the drawn soul. So for anyone that is looking to draw better, like me, give it a go. It's in those handful of pages I just showed. I see some of the most regular mistakes I see on mainstream comics, like the big guns. Figures standing on a plane and proportional relationships. When I flip open an issue of, pick a random book, and I see it poorly done, I'm just, that was a piece of paper falling, which is no surprise in my office. But we're really going to try to sell the movement of this piece, because I don't know the characters. I don't really know how they would interact with one another. So I have to try to put them in a place where they're doing something that I. He wasn't, but we all have different purposes to our artwork, and he knew these characters because he created them, so he could just put them wherever. I actually remember enjoying some of the early stuff, like the Hawk and Dove. He did an issue of Uncanny X-Men when he was, I don't know, like 11 years old, 12 years old, I think. No. He was just a teenager, like right in the heart of the Claremont run, you know, and yeah, it was fun. I don't like everything he does, obviously, but I think there's so many fans that do love his stuff that it deserves a look. I don't know the guy. I've only met him a few times. Um, I think I've met him 3 times, 4 times in my career, all at conventions. Generally, was always perfectly pleasant and affable when I met him, and I think that's one of the reasons he's always, done well with a lot of stuff. Is he seems like a personable guy. Gotta shrink his head. His head was a little too big for the proportions that I had picked. I don't know how you do so much stuff on your phone, Martha's. I really don't. It's pretty unbelievable. Drawing, got your books on your phone. Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, I think as long as everybody can deliver a professional job, if they want to do, or if they have time. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, Dimebox isn't paying anything. I mean, it's just if you want to print copies of your own and sell them on your own, that's entirely. I think that's the thing that everyone has to agree to. It's just if you can afford to print some and you want to sell some, then everybody grants a license to print it with their work included. We'll all put our contact info and like where you can find our work in there. And there's a certain level of cartooning to this character that I remember. I remember the like the Dan Fraga and the Jeff Matsuda versions. They had a very animated, rubbery feel to their stuff. Yeah, professional job. I think that's if you can do the lettering, that's that's a whole other skill set. When you're producing comics. I was talking about this with a friend the other day. Like one of the things I miss some of the old school letterers because their handwriting was so integral. Um, I mean, you can do whatever you want with your chapters, of course, but if you wanted to print copies to sell, I think that we would want it as a complete piece. And if you wanted to put it in, a sketchbook, an art book, or your own website, your own work, you can do it as you please. That's how I feel. There's again, it's very relaxed. It's not a nobody's going to be paying for a summer home with these or anything. Something like that. Kind of like how his head shaped. Yeah. I think so. I think if I remember it correctly. You'll forgive me, my brain's a little mushy right now. I had a long day, but I can check again. Yeah. I thought it looked fine. One specific letterer I was thinking about was Pat Brousseau. He was the letterer on the Wolverine comics for years through like the Andy Kubert stuff, the Mark Silvestri work. He was just there forever. And it was so integral to reading those comics was that lettering. And I read it for so long that when I see a Wolverine comic with some other lettering on it, it doesn't feel right to me. Like the lettering is so important, and letterers are so important. It's just I imagine like letterers from that era, got paid a good rate, and letterers today, I would say, generally do not. Do we see Badrock's head from any other angle? It's pretty much just straight on. It doesn't look like he has a neck. Yeah, it doesn't look like he has a neck. I don't know if we'll have a ton of room for a background. I've got him punching through a wall. I thought punching through a wall would be apropos for this era. So we'll have some rocks and some smoke coming up. How are you, Desiree? What's new? What's new with you? You have a good holiday season so far. You gonna go to a big party for New Year's Eve? When I do a cover with like a lot of characters, I tend to just rough them out real quick, and then I build it, and then I'll look at it and see what we can do. The way Rob builds his figures and the way I build my figures is different. So you're going to see like a difference in the structural build for sure. Roofing. The extra room is leaking in 4 places, so I won't be doing much until the rain passes and get it fixed. I can understand that. I would be paranoid about that as well. Like, are you using buckets or pots? Like, what is your chosen collection device? When we had a leaky roof within my folks' house, um, we used laundry baskets that had like that weren't that I don't know. I'd say that the bottom had about a 6-inch solid area for collecting water. They were more like Tupperwares, I guess, giant Tupperwares. Let's erase this. This is getting a little muddy. I have to order some more blue lead. I think I'm down to my last pack or two. It takes about a week or so, a week to 10 days to get it. So lost my little. Get my chair here. See if I can calm down and focus. When I'm drawing characters I've never drawn before, it can be tough to really picture what I'm doing because I don't know how they move. I don't know them. I'm kind of superficially placing them, and it's a strange feeling. I'll just try to tackle like the basics of each one at a time, and then we'll see what we can do. He draws like these big square bodies. I don't tend to draw very square bodies. Mine tend to be kind of bloopy, I would describe. I assume this guy has guns of some kind. This diehard fellow. Chapel has guns. This guy can fly, okay. Oh, does he have guns? Oh, he's got some sort of power sword and shield. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what happens when you don't know. His hand in. Proportions are a little off, but we'll get our way through it. Yeah, it's interesting to see how his figure drawing has changed over the years, because he had kind of loopy bloopy figures at one point too, and I would say they've just become more boxy, almost like he's drawing the silhouette and then building it out from there, like carving into it rather than building out. Like he kind of reversed that. At least that's what it looks like. It's interesting. I do occasionally catch his podcast when he's talking about old comics and stuff. But everybody had lots of muscles back then, and they were everything was very shiny muscles. That's how I would describe like Cyberforce and Youngblood and Wildcats. I remember them all being very shiny. I'm trying to remember the ones I bought when they came out. I think the only one that I bought when they came out were Spawn, Cyberforce Zero that Walt Simonson drew. Like if anybody's ever seen that issue, it was really good. Um, And don't worry, we're gonna use like debris and rocks and stuff to like make hide everything that I don't know about these characters. I didn't want to break this arm. I wanted that arm to come kind of be the container of the piece. So maybe I can bring him back here. And he can be pointing a gun. That'll work. Covers up more of Bad Rock, who I don't really know. Oh, I think he didn't move. I have one bucket that's big enough for 3 of the drops. They're near each other. Okay, yep. That's right. There probably won't be any feet in this picture. But, there might be, because we got to fit the other lady over here, and she's going to be kind of off to the background. I was thinking about doing like kind of a Kirby slide with her. And then we got to fit Shaft in here, and he's going to be kind of hunched down. Lots of fists, lots of teeth gnashing, unless they don't show their face. In the case of Die Hard here, he's got the full mask, so don't have to draw much facial expression for that fellow. Yeah, he's got a stripe. Got the little pointy toes. Yeah, that's right. And then the arms go like this, like this. Then it comes down like this. And then there's that guy. Oh yeah, we'll put some rubble there. Yeah, I think that's more befitting of what we're doing. Yeah. All right, I think we got our rough put together. We chunked it out. We've got to do a little bit of refinement on some of the shapes, especially for the foreground figure. Gotta clear this out. Forget it. We won't. Well, it's Youngblood. We won't show any of that stuff. And it's a sketch cover, so like fitting a bunch of characters on a sketch cover is the real challenge. Without trying to create too many tangents. It's another thing. Muscular dudes. I gotta reference the character. He's got like a big collar and like shoulder straps. Is that what that looks like? Oh, he's got some sort of head thing. Okay. He's got like a head thing. That's what he looks like. Big head thing. Okay. I don't want it to interrupt Bad Rock, so we might tone it down a little bit. What does it just go around his jawline? Yeah. Okay. Sure. Why not? Thing that wraps around the head weird that follows the jawline. Was the tying an onion to your belt of the day? Was the style of the time? Those of us that were alive in the 90s and saw this know this to be true. So he's got like a very square jaw, like super squared off. I see little glimpses of some of the like stuff I remember from X-Force and things, or when Rob drew a couple of issues of Wolverine where Deadpool showed up, and that's kind of the look I see. There it is. Okay. Yeah, this is a kind of a weird design to me, but people love this stuff, so. What do those guns look like? Are they just... I know, I keep looking at the reference, but this is what you do when you don't know the characters. That's a giant cannon of some kind. Okay, he's got pistols too. Okay. I guess because of the size of the pistols, he will have to interrupt Bad Rock. That's an awkward pose. We have to angle his shoulders a little bit so there's a little bit of movement to him. And all this after I just talked about how I picked up the Andrew Loomis book. I've been studying better figure drawing. And he's got like shoulder thingies, doesn't he? And he's got some sort of pouches. Okay, he uses that as a break. That's what he uses that for. So he's creating layers with the collar. Okay. If he's just using it to create layers, I can figure it out. That's what that's for. We're gonna have to move this over here because it's too big. If people want it to, it doesn't have to continue anything. It can just be a standalone. I don't really have any rules other than like it's public domain superhero or just characters that existed in like Golden Age comics that are now public domain. Teen books, man, they take they're a lot of work. His head's a little too big, so I'm gonna have to mess with that. And then Velocity, the other character, we've got room over here. I don't remember her deal either, so she's got swords. Looks like swords. We agreed she has swords. Okay, she's just kind of standing there. All right, cool. Yeah, I'll say swords. There we go. All right, we'll start to carve into it with our number 2 chisel pencil, excuse me. I don't know why I'm starting here, I just am. I think it's because I can build out from here and then use bedrock to like contain the figures. So we'll start here. I think he's just got the classic round head, yeah. And he's got metal on his biceps, sure. Yeah, and I'll link this for Jay. You know, we've been buddies for a long time. I actually asked him for the tick, so I'm hoping to see some Jay Kennedy magic on that. He worked on. He's done work for Archie. He's been in Image Comics. He's done a bunch of work for gaming companies. We went to college together, so we known each other a long time. I think our light source is coming from the right side, so we'll have some shadows over here. And Rob typically like double lights all his stuff, but I do not, so. Unless there's a reason for it. You know, everyone's expecting like a zillion tiny lines on this thing. Okay, so the inside of he's got like he's got a neck thing. Does he have gloves? He's got gauntlets. If we can't give him gloves, at least give him gauntlets. Thing. The good thing about this is we can add extra debris and stuff as we go, so that gives it some extra punch. guy's other hand is over here. Sorry, Die Hard's other hand is over here. We gotta refer to them by name. They have names. It's sold. I mean, this comic has sold millions of copies. So thinking back to the era in which this came out, which was like the height of the speculation boom, and they were really pushing for comics to be treated like trading cards, and I've actually seen some of that stuff really come back. And it's not just commenting on variant covers and things like that. These blind boxes are literally like packs of cards. So it's interesting that what's in vogue now. I was talking to a retailer, and pretty big retailer. They were telling me that they really only buy variant covers if they know they can move them real quick. I think the rest of them is dark in color. So okay, so he's got that middle texture all the way down his arm. My mistake. My mistake. Okay, so we're gonna have to retexture that. Fix that in. Fix it in post. So. Hopefully 2027 or 2026 is good for everybody. We've got some exciting stuff coming out. We'll be having Undersea Hero. I've got that issue of Planet Comics. We're going to work on Dime Box as a channel. So if people want to get involved or write stories, I just want anybody who is a regular here that wants to participate to get in on it. So, irregardless of, whether they're professionals or not, if somebody just wants to write a plot or do a single drawing or whatever, we'll find a way to make it work. I don't have a lot of info about it yet. I'm gonna do a website update, beginning of the year. And I just want to. It was something we've been talking about for ages. Like we should do something as a group. And the idea was just, how about we take some public domain characters and just we all do a little short story and make an anthology like the old days. You know, the idea being that if you want to print copies, we all just agree to let people print copies and sell them for whatever, and you can do whatever you want with your own work. Jonathan, who is a regular, I don't think he's ever written a comic before, but I think that he's going to get involved. And Desiree, if you wanted to write something or if you wanted to edit stuff or whatever you wanted to do, we could. I just want it to be a fun thing. I don't want it to be stressful. So that was the idea behind doing, like, I don't know, maybe we all do 4 to 6 to 8 pages, whatever anybody thinks their story needs. And years ago, I did a single issue of Dime Box Comics, and it was just me and my buddies at the local comic store. We made a anthology of public domain superheroes. I did a story of a character called Sub Saunders, and he's just a guy who owned a nuclear sub. And to me, that story, to make it more ridiculous, I had the government attach his sub to a rocket ship and send him to another planet. Because, like, that's the best idea I could come up with that I thought was funny. I have no idea what this head thing does, but we're drawing it. Probably just is to cut a different silhouette. Like when you're doing the whole team, you need to differentiate when they're in silhouette. So maybe that was really the purpose, like more than any sort of function. It was just being able to identify that character, I think he's got some stuff on his chest, if I remember correctly. Oh, there's a shoulder thingy there. Yeah, he's got some pouches on his chest. Hey, Daniel, how's it going? Happy New Year. I think he's mostly like a dark leather color, yeah. If that's the case, I'm going to add some more shadow to it. Just to, again, we're doing it in black and white, and the book's designed, very much designed for color. So we're going to have to make some decisions that if the book were in black and white, maybe they would consider. Yeah, happy 2026. Thank you. Does he have gloves? He does not have gloves. Yeah, he does have. He has gloves, but they're like skin tight, and then he's got the shoulder gauntlets or the wrist gauntlets straps around him. I'm just chunking in the fingers right now. Proportions are a little off, but we'll get by. I'll just assume that this guy's tall. I think all of Liefeld's characters are drawn tall, so I think that's a safe assumption that we can get away with. There's Jay. The blood is back, baby. Gotta have the teeth. Yes, everybody's gnashing teeth for sure. So, characters I've never drawn, but I'm doing my best, Jay. I promise. I did not see Troll in this book, so I thought I was safe. I'm drawing these characters. There's these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I think these are the main 5 for this story. Oh, Bedrock went from not having shoulders things on this panel, where he's got like a tank top on, to then a few pages later he's got the big shoulder things. So I don't know. I guess I could draw the shoulder things in here. Just rough them in real light, I guess. I don't know. I prefer it without the shoulder things, but I think that we'll just get by without it. I feel like he needs a more elaborate gun of some kind. I'm just going to noodle one in there so it looks more. That's about where it is. Hey Jeff, we showed off the book earlier. It looks great. I'll grab it again. Boom. Planet Comics. Number 6, guest starring the Tick. And it looks beautiful. Planet Comics is a series Jeff's been working on. He's done 6 issues as an independent. That's a huge accomplishment. And it's a collection. It's a continuation of like the Golden Age books, but it's like revamped with new stories and new artists, and definitely in the spirit of the original. And it's got background information on creators, and reprints of a Golden Age classic in each one. Really just a handsome package. So, and yep, pretty cool. I got to do a cover for it. I hope I get to see the other ones soon. But these came out great, and thanks Jeff for letting me tag along for this one. So it was really a lot of fun. I don't want to spoil any surprises on that could be lurking within. So, but yeah, Bug Jeff McClellan, Wagon Wheel Comics. This guy right here. So. Is improperly placed. So. I think it should be coming forward. Yeah, that looks better. Any goals for next year? Well, making sure everybody gets their copy of Undersea Hero is a big early goal for me. Like I said, we actually showed a copy of it. It's not within arm's length, but we've got to finish the Undersea Hero field guide, get those ordered, and then when those show up with the rest of the copies from the printer, we can get moving on getting the fulfillment done. And then I've got some other ideas for stuff. We were talking about Dime Box Comics as like a channel anthology that we're talking about doing, and seeing if I can wrestle some of my other friends into contributing. I'm not buying a printer. I'm having books delivered from a printer. That was again with the shoulder things. Okay. Yeah, I've ordered stuff from the printer, the copies of the books, prints, all kinds of stuff. So we showed off the Atlantic Pacific print earlier. This is one of those things that was a stretch goal that we got these printed up. And I actually have water from the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean that I'm going to mix a little watercolor in with it and fill in each space. So every print actually has water from the Atlantic and the Pacific Ocean. And yeah, early on, people were like, you got to have gimmicks, you got to have these things. And I was like, well, I want to come up with something that I think fits the character and, that I thought would be neat. So actually walking away from an Undersea Hero project and everyone who ordered a thing getting a little tiny piece of the ocean, I think is a cool thing. Yeah, it's different, I don't know if anybody's ever done anything like it, so we'll see how it goes. Yeah, that's not a bad. I did have on one of the add-ons is I would send you a sweet shell that I found on the beach, but I don't think anybody actually picked that one. So it's interesting. I do have a plan to do a big blog that kind of recaps everything that happened with, the printing and the project and everything that happened and my thoughts on it. I would like to publish something like that on my website. See if we can rough in everybody at least. I don't love everything that's going on in this drawing, but it's my buddy, so we'll fight our way through it. Tomorrow I won't be able to work on it. I'll have to work on it maybe over the weekend. I'm running out of gas, folks, so I think we're going to have to call it a night. Yeah, I'm just tired. It's been a long day. Went for a jog when I got home. lady character will be kind of leaping down over here. Velocity. Right now I'm just roughing it in to see if we can. Oh, that's right. His other arm is up over here. So you have to draw another hand, which takes a little extra time. We've got Chapel with 2 giant guns. And the other fist, I think, will move up a little further and chunk it in there. That kind of shows you the layout and how we'll move forward with the piece. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Hope everyone has a happy and safe new year, and we'll see you next week. Thanks everybody. Have a good night.